Good morning and welcome to the start of our semester here at Daybreak. I'm Kelsie Metzgar.
And I'm Chris Hoffman. Coming up this morning, we have the result of the adjunct faculty debate as well as the new debate over campus security.
And what President Obama had to say about the situation with ISIS, and Caroline Collins will join us with weather.
Daybreak starts right now. Well, we're looking to have another fun and exciting semester here at Daybreak.
And that's right, we're just going to jump right into things right now. Chris, it's been a mild end to this summer. What can we expect as they walk out to class this morning, Caroline?
Thanks, Kelsie. It is such a beautiful and sunny morning here at Point Park University. Perfect weather for your morning commute. Today we are looking at temperatures in the upper 70s, which is fantastic for this time of year. We are mostly sunny. We are winds at southeast at 5 miles per hour. So I suggest that you get outside and enjoy the Village Park at this time of the year because you know it's going to get close to fall.
Wednesday night, President Obama addressed the issue of ISIS. In his press conference, Obama said that he will not hesitate to take action against ISIS in Syria and Iraq. He said that this is one of the major principles of his presidency. And he said that if you threaten America, there will be no safe place for you to hide. This idea is supported by national security leaders who have talked about the possibility of airstrikes against ISIS leaders. ISIS has been in the news in recent months because of the murders of James Foley and Stephen Sotloff, who were American journalists. Tuesday, a third American was tested positive for Ebola in Sierra Leone, was transported to Emory University Hospital in Atlanta. The patient's name is not being released. All that is being said is the patient is a doctor. Last month, 2 Americans infected with Ebola were transferred to Emory University Hospital and given an experimental drug to fight the disease. They were treated for several weeks, then released from the hospital. In U.S. news, we go to Ferguson, Missouri, where 2 new witnesses have come forward in the murder of Michael Brown. The witnesses say the teenager had his hands up in the air and he was gunned down by a police officer. Also on Wednesday, police in Ferguson arrested dozens of protesters who were threatening to shut down a portion of Interstate 70 near Ferguson. Some of their protesters were throwing rocks at police. And that's all I have for national news. Let's send it back to Chris and Kelsie for a local perspective.
That's right, Kyle, as our political reporter James Hill joins us now.
James will be with us for the entire semester. You're going to break down the gubernatorial race for us.
Yeah, guys, actually, a new poll. It's showing some more trouble for incumbent Governor Tom Corbett. Now, a poll by the Quinnipiac University is showing that the Democratic challenger, Tom Wolf, actually has a 24-point margin over Governor Corbett, with 59% of likely voters in favoring with Wolf and only 35% actually favoring Governor Corbett. Now, Quinnipiac University, they polled 1,161 likely voters in telephone interviews that were carried out early this month. We're going to jump over to one of the graphics now so you can get a good view of what's going on. The first one that you're going to see coming up now, it's how many of you have actually made up your mind already about the race. 84% of poll voters have said they've already made up their mind, and actually only a few said they actually hadn't changed. That actually left out. It was only about 15% actually said they might change their mind. You also got to keep in mind the margin of error in that. It's about 2.9%. Moving on to the next one now. The next one was actually, now, if you had to choose today, once again, who would you choose? 59% said if they were choosing today, they would be choosing for Tom Wolf. Only 35% said that they would be voting again for our current governor, Tom Corbett. Moving on to the next slide now, the last one it was. Now, is your vote for Wolf or against Corbett? Saying when they get ready to vote, are they simply voting for Tom Wolf or are they voting against Governor Corbett? 51% of people saying they're voting against Governor Corbett. So it's actually looking like a dark time for him as we get ready to move into the upcoming race. Kelsie and Chris?
Well, James, what do you think right now, as the election's coming up, is the most pressing issue for voters?
Well, a lot of people, they're pretty sure that it's actually the education, but Quinnipiac, they actually polled that too. Actually, the economy came in at #1 with 32% of voters talking their most important issue going out now is the economy. Education, which is another big one, came in actually second at 25%, which is surprising because a lot of the commercials you've seen, it's been solely about the education debate that's been going on in our state.
Now, Tom Corbett did get hit for education, but he did balance the budget. So why are so many people voting against him?
Well, it's actually a very awkward situation. Technically, education funding has gone down, The former governor, Ed Rendell, a lot of the funding that we had in Pennsylvania for education at that time, it was actually based off of national and federal grants that had been given to the state. When those grants expired, there was actually nothing in the Pennsylvania budget used to make up for it, which is making it seem like education has actually been cut, although technically it's just federal grants that have actually just expired.
Now, you mentioned the economy. We kind of know what Tom Corbett wants to do, but what does Tom Wolf want to do that sets him apart from Corbett?
Well, his plans actually haven't been laid off all that clear, but basically he wants to put a tax onto some of the various industries that are going on in the state right now. Right now, Pennsylvania, we've actually become the #2 state in the nation for natural gas. He wants to put a tax on natural gas as well as fracking, you know, that entire industry there, to get more money into our school systems. I know, for an example, the Pittsburgh Public School District here in our own city, they actually have about an annual budget of $584 million. Over the next 5 years, they're actually still looking at a $14 million deficit that they have to make up going into the next fiscal year.
All right, thanks, James. We look forward to joining you next week. Coming up on Daybreak, find out what Point Park plans to do with its security firm.
And stay tuned to hear of the happy news in the Happy Valley.